Right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. How's everyone doing? Are we winning? How's the dance music to voice ratio today? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Yeah, we'll get on to the state of the market quite quickly, because I mean, I literally went AFK, and what the fuck? Fucking sold, boys. Yeah, a little bit wild. Evening market in shambles. It is. Lost some of your moon bag on XPL, but everything else good. Yeah, I mean, nice sell-off today. If you were mostly cash and playing it reasonably risk-off. I personally was mostly cash and risk off, apart from one position, which I have martingaled myself out of, which is don't do this at home, kids. But yeah, let's start us off as we usually start with a shout out to Telemetry by the Legends of Bongbot, because I work in partnership with them, obviously. Hashtag disclosure, etc. and all that rubbish. Yeah, so the boys and girls have been cooking. We've got a few updates this week, but I don't think I'm allowed to say when it's going to come or what it is. So maybe there's something cool coming next week, which I'm really looking forward to. It should be next week anyway. We'll see. But what I've been looking at is, I really want to start a challenge with Doc. So me against Doc, Booms in the trenches, right? We're both going to start off with 5 soul, 10 soul, something like that. And see either who's the first who can get to 100, or at the end of like a 2-week period who's got the most. Because we've actually had a couple of decent trades. lately, which is nice. But I've not been super active in the trenches because perps have been so good. And this Sol Launchpad volume has shown me that actually, there's this big decline over the last, week or two. And that actually the trenches haven't been as good. And on this, on whale moves, there's hardly anything popping up. There's not that much at all. And when it pops up, they're usually like 12, 17s, and there's no like real like 30 plus coins. Apart from useless, which is obviously like, yeah, of course that's a fucking tier 1 project, right? It's 175 mil market cap, does millions in daily volume. I mean, this is obviously on chain, but it does a lot on perps and exchanges and all that stuff as well. So, yeah, it's a bit dry. But yesterday, if I'd have actually pulled my finger up my ass and looked at this today, instead of longing MYX, which we'll come on to, I would have noticed the massive spike in pump fund volume, which is 164 mil to 300, which is like literally double. And then you kind of wonder, and you go, well, okay. Off the back of that, Pump Fund has had a wonderful rotation. I'm not saying 1 + 1 is 2, right? Or, A + B = C. Like, they are obviously independent, but the fact that you can see rising volume on Pump Fund by literally a factor of 2x, it's kind of indicative that I probably should have been looking at it, right? So I am using this to, like, manage my on-chain activity, but it also really set up nicely for a little trade opportunity that I missed, unfortunately. I wasn't playing this rotation, I was looking after my daughter, basically. Because my wife's gone out tonight for drinks with friends and moan about me, I presume, which is, what ladies do on nights out. But yeah, how is everyone doing after this dip? Because I do want to check in on people's, like, mentality, and when you're put it in the chat and we'll come to it, and like genuinely any problems or anything like that. But yeah, the team at Telemetry have done a great job in changing the limit orders and making them a bit more effective, which, like I say, I haven't really used in the last couple of days. But there's some cool stuff coming next week, and it's well worth your time trying it out. And the link is in the stream. And you want a link to the spaghetti chart? I'll tell you what, I'll do that, and then we'll jump into like market stuff, shall we? But like, to me, this is the time where you just get some trending positions. You play around with like on-chain stuff, because if you're thinking about it, right, on-chain might be a little bit dead now, yeah, right? Not the best in terms of trying to run it up, but that's when you get used to the tools. That's when you try things out, and that's when you. Sorry, I'm just chucking the links in, so that's why I'm a little bit like distracted. And that's when you build up your reflexes and muscle memory for doing these kind of things, right? There you go. There's firstly BonkBot sign up, and secondly TradingView with Spaghetti on. So now we've said all that, and hopefully when we get the challenge going and running, and there's a bit more volume. To be fair, it looks all right. Like in terms of, it looks like it's heating up a bit. So I think we'll have to get that officially launched. Probably I'll message Doc now or after the stream, and we'll go from there. So there you go. Happy Christmas, happy Hanukkah, whatever else you celebrate, enjoy. So how is everyone after today's move? Because like these kind of moves, particularly on like the really popular coins, like most people get FOMO like up here and buy. I did see someone's Telegram who was like, I'm not sure if he meant it, but he like left his average entry on there, which was like 233. I was like, mate, come on. Like you're gonna be buying it down here, or like breakouts or something. But anyway, yeah, I obviously tweeted this earlier, and I like memeing on the timeline. I manage my own risk and all that kind of stuff, but 25% in like basically a day is a pretty brutal sell-off. So I do hope that genuinely people weren't over-levered to the tits and no one got completely fucked on this move, because it is pretty savage. Like these alts are really nice when they're in play, really nice rotations, but then the weakness signs were there, right? The lower highs, the bouncing ball in terms of like literal momentum into momentum loss. Now I personally thought it was going to have another one, but obviously it didn't. But yeah. Good morning, good evening. Have you looked into cards? No, what do you mean cards? As in like Pokemon cards and all that shit? Or a physical ticker called cards? But yeah, genuinely kind of hope everyone's alright. I do think that now is like a good opportunity to be looking for signs of fresh longs. Now we've got two things really in our favour, I think. One is it's month end, right? It is literally the 30th of September. There's lots of fuckery at month end. And as a result of that, I think, you know, we've seen a wipe of OI in terms of like altcoin OI, etc. I think there's been a lot of, how do I put it, like further back into people's brains because suddenly we've had some coins that have ran and new launches have actually ran and all this stuff. And I've got to say, like, it's been the most active that I've been in the last like 2 weeks versus the prior 2 months. And I think that's the time to do it, you know, when we are getting these like amazing rotations, like since let's go to like a 1 minute time frame, like, you know, you catch something like Pump, you catch something like Launch Coin, which we'll come on to again, useless, you know, 10% rotations in what, 2 hours? That's pretty fucking good. You know, you can't complain at that. Really, really good, in my opinion. Everyone on about the government shutdown, don't we? Your thoughts? Just noise? I got no idea, mate. If you look back at the last government shutdown, I'll probably tell you what happens. I got no idea. I can't really give a fuck. I'll just kind of play the chart that's in front of me. I was actually a bit worried on the sell-off back here because the risk appetite was really like not there for altcoin rotations. It was just like gonzo, do you know what I mean? Which is surprising me. It surprised me, to be honest, because when you look at some of the strong sell-offs and you look at like how big some of those sell-offs were, like particularly stuff like Asta, right? Like it took a little while for like risk to come on and to come back. So I'm talking about this rotation here. It was like fuck all, really. It's no real strength. And what you want to see is like big sell-off, big V recovery, like in strong uptrends, yeah? This time period like had me, to be honest, in terms of not thinking, oh, it's over, but just, you know, I was cautious going into the day in terms of, I thought, you know, there was a lot of risk in terms of stuff like Asta, in terms of like Apex and stuff like that. Like I thought, well, I kind of want a bag of this, but I don't want a bag, like just buy support after, you know, a series of lower highs failing to break out, strong downtrend, etc., which turned out to be an even stronger downtrend. You know, that to me is just like big no. So, but now we find ourselves in a position where we go, okay, well, that's great, Charlie, thanks for telling us what's already happened. What are we going to do next? Well, I'm glad you asked. For me, there's lots of coins that I've liked and I haven't got a bag of. So like STVL is one of them. Here you can see the thought process that I wanted to buy up here. Now, I'm never the guy that buys here, right? I'm never ever the guy that buys this. Unless I'm like intraday scalping and I'll do it like 10% position size and I'll ape a clip or something, and then it's just, you know, it'll be cut within 10 minutes. But if we start like reclaiming this, like if we start reclaiming 0.38, that's a fucking easy long for me, right? Really like nice structure on some of these coins, particularly the whole like stable coin narrative and all that. But if it doesn't reclaim that, then it's just not a trade. Like this is the part where I just patiently wait for setups to emerge and go, okay, well, if it's going to work out, it's going to work out. Bitcoin doesn't look too bad, right? Let's have a look at BTC. You know, I've maintained for a long time that this 110 level is kind of like the big line in the sand for me, right? If we lose that, then I think the market is like just going to be fucked. And we're just going to be in a scenario of every pump we're fading, right? And we'll fade that, we'll fade that, we'll fade that, and then we'll fade that, we'll get fucked, and then that'll be when we actually get a bit of risk back in the market, yeah? Like, that will be high time frame plan. Now, it doesn't look amazing in terms of, like, we could quite easily print a lower high here, but the fact that we've bounced from 110, the fact that we've said for a long time 110 is effectively support, and that's a high time frame bias, we're above support, we're above a high time frame bias, so let's be bullish, right? And let's be bullish until the market tells us otherwise. So, you know, for me, I'm going to maintain my bullish bias. Let me just check on what's it called. You know, if I look at like this for my last 7 days, you know, I'm very long biased. Very, very long biased. So 69% win rate, 86 longs or long orders, and 7 shorts. So, you know, I'm still maintaining that bias, right? Just to kind of show you that that is what I'm actually doing. And the reality is that I think that's the right thing to do in this market. I don't want to short here. There's no real major invalidation, right? If we come up here and reject, and that's a lower high, I could be tempted to short that, to be honest, because that's like our third sign of weakness, and it will be the third time that we've rejected that. So that's like quite high on my radar to hedge my spot BTC exposure and my general exposure to the market, right? Because obviously if Bitcoin does this or something of that ilk, then altcoins are going to be fucked as well. So that's a trigger point for me. I don't want to buy any more spot Bitcoin. I've got more than enough. I've got no interest in that. Reclaim here and go for that. Could add, could maybe take a perp long, right? Simple as that. So I'm interested here is the main area where I'm going to interact with Bitcoin next, if at all. And if it doesn't get there, then, you know, I'm probably just going to be selling my spot down here, which we entered down here, I think it was, down there somewhere. So, you know, not a bad trade, not the trade I wanted it to be, but still decent enough. The one that I will play a continuation trade on is ETH, if we get it. At the moment, this doesn't look particularly great because, you know, you've got, like, this is where, just to kind of talk about the colors, I've changed it so that, like, this is where a bearish trend starts, and this is where a bearish trend starts, right? So you can imagine all these would be red, and actually, if you look at this, and you look at this rejection right now, it doesn't look great for me. But you start reclaiming this 4-3 level, and I could play the standard range reclaim up like this if a couple of conditions are met, right? One is that I want ETH to be relatively strong. So I want ETH BTC to be positive, and I want Sol ETH, I want Sol to be weak against ETH. Because if Sol is the meta trade, then I'd rather be long Sol, right? I'd rather be long on a break of like this, yeah? I would rather be longing a breakout of Sol because Sol is stronger than Ethereum, simple as that. So it's kind of quite conditional, my thought process around ETH or Sol, but I want to long one of them because they're super liquid, and, you know, if either of them actually break out of their like major high time frame ranges, we should get a decent like 2x from here. Yeah, should run very liquid up to like 400. And similarly for ETH, I don't see why ETH wouldn't go to, like, I've done a piss target there. But yeah, I don't see why we wouldn't go to something like 8K, right? And like properly break out, markets go full risk on with crypto again. But equally, you know, the big risk here, and why I don't want to do it too early, is if we're deviating and we go back under this resistance, this is where I get really, like, you know, scared that we come back down to like 2.5K or something like that, right? And it's over for a long time. So this pivotal level around 4K really does determine the next few months. Not to be like negative either, it's just, you know, I'm always going to be practical in terms of what I tell you guys, and not just be full bull. Right, I'm just going to scroll through chat, take a break, and we'll chat through some of your points. In case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Second buy key. Shall be there, be a fear dump when it does happen. Then I have to rally like every other cycle, depends on trend too. Yeah, how's it going? Good time, mate, you? Link done. Chilling stocks and Bitcoin. All other coins feel useless. Yeah, useless pun. Love that. When the market dips, you're in stables feel good. Yeah, it's like a shopping list. You're the best. Thank you. You're welcome. Good morning. Good evening. Cards. No. Pokemon cards craze. RWA gambling platform. Ah, yeah. I know it. No, not really. We talked about stuff. Burt pump. We can look at Burt very quickly. It's done well, like since we tweeted about it and stuff. But it's, as is standard for meme coins at the minute, it's struggling to break out, right? Utter shithouse. One thing that I do a lot is, and I don't know if you guys have noticed, but yeah, I was doing it in the Paragon and talking about like high time frame pivot points. And actually, I caught a really fucking good trade on Saturday. We'll come on to MYX in a minute, but it was, you know, it's all to do with like high time frame pivot points, so like these highs, and like how, you know, previous highs, the market reacts to. I don't know if there's some kind of what's it called, ICT concept or some bollocks like that, but on a low time frame you see it all the time, right? It's because people presumably use them as swing points for stop losses, take profits, etc., and just front run it, so you get this essentially. But as far as I'm concerned, we're still in a bullish uptrend. You know, we're still printing high lows, bosh, bosh, bosh. So for now, I think Bert's good. I'd like to see something like this and then really fucking blow up. The reason I'd like to see that is because obviously I've got a massive bag, but it's also the PA. Just nice consolidation, nice structure up. I think the market is so risk off on memes in general, like Useless seems to be getting a bit of a pump, and Bert is quite good in terms of beta, but you know, there's no like, you're not seeing like Bonk, Doge, Pepe like be the top of spaghetti, right? Memes as a sector isn't doing particularly well. Yeah, SPX, whatever it is, again, not doing amazingly compared to what it was doing. So yeah, lots of potential opportunity for reversals. Even stuff like Altcoin really fucking struggling, right? Like all these things just very strong downtrend. What happened with Eigen? Murdered? What's her name, mate? I've not really, Eigen USDT. See you, boys. Yeah, that is fucking savage. Absolutely no idea. That looks like a very strong 2-up sell, doesn't it? Just like, you shall not fucking pass. Pretty mental, but then I am trading probably one of the most mental coins at the moment. And I'll show you what we did on, I think it was Saturday. Trading this. Fuck me, is this a volatile bastard? So I tweeted this out earlier. I think I tweeted something like, what did I tweet? Was it like, no fucking Fibonacci's? I wish you could delete tools. I don't know if it was like this or some shit, but I was basically long from up here. And yeah, it must have been something like this. And I got cucked. I've been watching this all fucking day, man, this chart. I've been literally in this trade, and I have like martingaled into various points, sold at various points, bought at various points, sold at various points. I've done a metric fuck ton of volume on this bastard coin that just won't break out. And yeah, I've massively, it's piss poor in terms of performance, which is not great. It's probably one of the worst rotations I've played, but that is because it's making up for what we did on Saturday, which was it Sunday? Oh, it was Saturday. It was over here. It was this here. So had this really clean. Let's go to the 1 minute. Had this basically going through, and as soon as it broke out, like I think I saw it, or maybe it was here, maybe it was that. Yeah, it was that. There we go. Right, we're there. We're cooking. So we had this like run up, consistent higher lows. You don't see stuff like this very often, just like pure baby pips TA, right? So nice in terms of just consistent structure. And then this high capping this and this, strong breakout with a consistent higher low, right? And then a perfect retest, and then off it fucks, and it just literally ran like a motherfucker. There was like hardly anything in terms of pullback until you get these like savage dips, which he then carried on. Like Boomer Charlie is playing. But yeah, it then like instantly got bought up, ran again, did the same again. So it's just like illiquid Garbonza, but it is quite fun to trade. I'm not gonna lie, it's quite fast. And it had massive negative funding. It's only got like 4% negative funding, or 0.04% now, which isn't particularly bad. I think that's annualized as like 86%, which is pretty wild, I suppose. But yeah, I just like this coin because it seems to trade very, very cleanly. Like, it breaks from ranges, and whichever way it breaks, it just fucking goes. And I've assumed this whole day, pretty much, that it was going to break out to the upside up here, and run it turbo. But it's not yet. He says yet, hopefully. My average entry is like here now, because I've traded the shit out of these rotations. Is it here? 15... No, it's back here. So yeah, kind of hoping it comes back to life, but it's not looking good, brev. Not looking good. But let's look at a coin that does look good. Yeah, this is just like ranging price action. If you can start getting some change in terms of reclaims, like this level, yeah, I want to be a buyer down here, This is like big resistance, etc. But yeah, we'll see. It's a bit of a savagely manipulated coin. But yes, launch coin. So I've been in launch coin for a little while now, and it is one of the better performers on the day. So if I look at this, you know, I think I'm one of the only people on the timeline talking about launch coin. You know, it's performing just as well as pump, if not better, because it didn't actually have the massive dips. You know, I was telling people in the group that, like, here's a nice big pivot. This is where I evaluate, do I want to add, do I want to cut, what do I want to do? You know, here, like, obviously I can say now the right decision was to add. I didn't add, I didn't do anything. I was literally put that chart in the group and then I went AFK. But this is a really promising range break. You know, we're range breaking to the upside on big relative strength. I'm kind of hopeful that if we start seeing, you know, a bit more on-chain volume and that this starts trending up and to the right, bearing in mind that this bar is like in progress. It's today, yeah. So it's not like done. It's still being filled up, if you like it. So yeah, I'm pretty hopeful that this plays out. Maybe not to such an extreme target, and that's why we keep an eye on it in terms of trend, in terms of structure. And we have been in it for a while, to be fair. I entered this breakout over here, so it wasn't like I haven't suffered through a big drawdown over here. But it's still open. It's still, you know, looking very, very good. And like, this kind of behavior is just exactly what I want to see, yeah? Exactly what I want to see. These leverage trades or spots, this one, I've actually done both. So I've done spot and leverage, because I could only buy a small amount of perp, basically. I was like, ah, fuck this is too choppy, so I just went and tanked a load of spot. But yeah, I generally, if you see me on like a 4-hour time frame, it's spot. If you see me on the 1-minute chart, it's almost always perps, right? Almost always. Have you closed the sol long from 185? I've sold most of it, yeah. I don't want to re-enter it. I've still got a little bit of sol, but nowhere near what I had. Nowhere near what I had. You know, the real, and I should have closed it sooner, to be fair. You know, as soon as we started breaking trends, as soon as we broke down from here, as soon as it kind of came back here, this was like bounce or die. And then here is like your whole trade thesis of this being a breakout, this being the trend acceleration, etc. is gone. So I was a bit greedy on this one. And I've still got some of it left from wherever it was, 185 or whatever down here. And I want to add to it if, like I said earlier, it's the right decision between ETH and SOL. And that is, for me, to be determined, because there's really not much in it at the moment, right? It's like, it's deciding. And I don't know. I haven't actually got a thesis as to which one I think is going to be better. Like, I don't know if it's going to be Sol. I don't know if it's going to be ETH. I mean, if you put a gun to my head and said you had to pick Charlie, like, which one is it? I'd say ETH. I think ETH structurally looks like a better chart. I think it's got, you know, it's got this consolidation and range up here, but I think as soon as it reclaims that, I think people are just going to be fucking turbo bullish on it. Whereas Sol hasn't got that structure. Sol's got like this breakout from like this resistance slash support, resistance here, but it's just not as clean. It's not like a range reclaim is we established value in this area previously, right? So we established value, we traded here for a long time, reclaim into that, like you're pretty confident that it's going to at least tag range highs. Whereas this is like, well, last time we came into this area, we just turbo went up. So if there's any sellers that really want to sell, you know, they can and will. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. I don't want to add to it, but it's just too early for me. Like, I don't want to just like long into resistance, right? You're either like on Sol. The fuck is that? Someone just clipped in MYX or some shit. Jesus. So you either take like the first change in trend in structure, so like here, so the first high or low, right? Or you take a reclaim or something like that. Like, I can't just run into it like here. AVAX could be a decent swing long. To be fair, I've seen a lot of people shilling AVAX. I'm assuming that AVAX have done some sort of OTC or something, because there's loads of people that like shilling fucking dog shit about it. I was pretty convinced that people did that with Litecoin as well, but we'll see. I mean, yeah, it looks okay. Like, this is, it's a bit difficult, like where it is for me, as in it's kind of in the middle of nowhere, right? If it, like here, if I really wanted some AVAX, that was the time to buy it, right? That was the time to bosh it in. I know that's really easy with hindsight, but you've just seen what I've done, right? We had this massive consolidation. Got this massive pivot over here. Like, really, really clean. Bosh, bosh, bosh. This, if we can hold that, that's, you know, confirming that this is support resistance. And right here, you know, for me to get bullish here, let's see. It's a nice little reaction, right? Like, strong downtrend. Just being broken with a clean rotation. Alright, let's just delete all this shit. I'm just gonna make it very fucking clear. That. Similar to Sol, really. Like, I don't particularly want to long it here. If we get that consolidation, another tap of this, you know, resistance, then I'd be trying to play a breakout long here. And my long position would look something like this, you know, stop under here or under here, or whatever that like local low is, and swing it for the next run. And just kind of assume that, like, from a weekly perspective, yeah, that like it's like that. Yeah. I know it's redonkulous in terms of targets and stuff, but hey, man can dream if we get risk on. But I just don't like this vertical accumulation. I'm shit at taking positions in, unless they're rotational, right? In which case, on a 1 minute chart, I can trade the fuck out of that. But yeah, that's my thought process on AVAX. Breakout trade, basically. Should I check out Kick? Launch before Bonk? What's this? This is going to be some turbo dog shit, isn't it? It's not even going to be on air, is it? Is it Kick USDT? S token. Yeah, I've seen a few friends talk about this. It's the same shit, really. Like, we got a strong sell-off, like, like, it's not very clean price action. And by that I mean, like, I know what I want to see, right? I want to see ranges, I want to see, like, good structure, like positive market structure into a clean resistance. I want to see strong rotations, you know, that's a really nice candle, but it's not really enough to, like, where's my invalidation, right? And I know it sounds really stupid, but maybe it's just the fact that I've, like, seen a bajillion charts, because I do it not all day, every day, but I've done it for a long, long time now. And if I look at this, like, that was the breakout trade there, right? Like, from a local price action perspective, you've got continuous, like, higher lows pretty much, apart from this. Like, this is nice. This resistance here is where I'd be longing. You know, same as AVAX, basically. You know, we take that, reclaim, we long here. Like, that's it. Here, and then this is just janky. It's just, you know, pure diagonal, weird price action. Let's have a look at, like, high time frame. Yeah, so fucking down only. So if I was looking at this from like a real high time frame perspective, I'm not really interested in, like, stuff like this that's, you know, kind of had its cycle, I would suggest. And the only way that I'd really change my mind on something like that is if we can start reclaiming, like, some of these levels like that. And, like, down here, it just doesn't interest me. Like, you're fading, like, this huge downtrend. I just don't know what would make S relevant again. You know, just being completely honest. So yeah, I'm not, like, totally convinced. I actually saw SQD on my radar the other day. It popped up. I was looking at it on one of the scanners that I'm building, because it is nuts. And yeah, like, when you look at stuff like that, like, wouldn't it be cool to have a scanner that kind of picks that up? Like that. Imagine getting those signals sent to Discord. Oof. Getting rock hard thinking about it. Yeah, that's coming. And it was actually inspired by, as the name might suggest, Apex in particular, and trying to think holistically about potential opportunities around, like, what metas are gonna be sort of coming into play. And this was what I'd call, like, a lateral trade, yeah, because everyone was on about Asta being the DEX of, like, Binance BNB, yeah. And then the lateral trade is, well, what if Bybit had the same thing? Because Bybit's, you know, a tier 1 exchange and so on and so forth. And this was, like, in hindsight, obviously, a really obvious trade of something that has been basically an accumulation for a long time, yeah? It's like, it's stayed in this range for fucking ages. From, like, the perspective of this, these are always the ranges that I say to people, like, one of the best things you can do when you're bored is smash, like, an alert across here, yeah? And then as soon as it breaks out, have a look at it, see if it fits in with the meta and so on and so forth. And, like, even if you bought here, if you literally pinged to this chart and bought it, even if you didn't, right, to the highs, it's mental, you know, 500% in, like, literally a couple of days. And I'm not saying you're going to buy that necessarily, you know, maybe buy up here, whatever, but you're still talking, like, ridiculous gains. When these things get momentum, and when you catch a decent narrative trade, as well as, you know, a breakout from a huge consolidation range on something that's been relatively illiquid, you know, so anyone who has sold has probably sold, because it's just been, like, pure down only since, like, well, March 24, basically. You know, pure down only. So yeah, time to systemize that bitch and make it spit some alerts into trading into the Paragon. And we're not just going to do it for crypto either, we're going to do it for stonks. So that alert there is what I want it to automatically populate. So I haven't been building that as much as I wanted to the last week because I've actually been trading the fuck out of the markets, but yeah, you can only dream. That's illegal. Yeah. I think AVAX is the next euthanasia coaster. That's why people are talking about it. Yeah, probably. But yeah, I mean SQD. Sorry, going back to it. I ranted on about scanner, but that's I've already sort of seen the SQD chart. Very difficult to trade that unless you got something like that. Yeah, once you're in, you just kind of I think the way that you do it is you literally manage your sizing around, you know, 8 first, ask later. Essentially, it's something like that. So you're not taking a 19% portfolio loss like a fucking retard, right? You're taking, you know, you're taking it with not a 20th of the size probably, but at least a 10th of the size. And then if you catch something like this, you know, kudos. The Magus is really good at trading this and calls this like the big booty pattern. So this is like, you know, this in terms of just like a rounded bomb. And I'm not great at trading it when it's properly like rounded. I prefer flat bombs, ironically, and ranges. Yeah. So I like my lines to be straight, but from a structure perspective, it was quite a nice consolidation. If you'd stuck it on spaghetti, you probably could have caught some of that, and probably some of that as well, because both of those moves are pretty drastic. So I would assume that the breakouts would have shown on spaghetti, and then yeah, you know, you're looking at something like this, aren't you? Which again, you're not going to put an 8%. You're not going to put your entire portfolio in it. You manage your risk appropriately and so on and so forth. But yeah, would I long it here? Absolutely fucking not. You know. Did we do cards? No, I didn't. VeChain, mate. I'm not doing VeChain. Fuck that. Like, there are dead bags and there are dead bags. Like, Jesus. VeChain. That's a blast from the past. So yeah, I don't know how to trade this now that this is like in full up only mode. Like if you've got this and you add it to spaghetti, you know, it probably give you some really good trades. As you are like breaking out of ranges and you are looking for something like this, you know, if that's on relative strength, absolutely rock it. Like, go for it. But very, very difficult for me to be like, here's a trade on it here, because it is just, it's vertical. You know, a chart that looks like that is just, you missed it. Next one. Where would you short SQD? I wouldn't. Why? Why short it? Like, unless you are bearish on the market fundamentally, there is literally, like, I think it's so poor for 99% of people to short. Like, I will short sometimes, and I will usually short as an insurance, right? There's two scenarios when I short. When I am like 95% sure in my mind, obviously not in the market, that we've had a massive euphoric pump on something, everyone is still euphoric, but the chart isn't telling me that it's euphoric. We've had a parabolic run, and we're going into a lower high. I will take that short 9 out of 10 times, right? So here, if you really wanted to do it, I would have to see something like that, and I'd be short in there. But my problem with that is, it's kind of in the middle of nowhere, right? This, unironically, the time to do it was here. So you have this monstrous parabolic run. Yeah, pure parabola, which is white, which is less than ideal. Whoa, it's not a racial thing, right? Calm down, calm down. You know, beautiful parabola. Beautiful. And you've got the volume peak at the top. You've got the massive illiquid move to finish it off. Like, absolutely stunning. That is exactly what you want to see from a parabola. Yeah. And then we just like instantly die. We leave some nice wicks at the highs. We've got this. We've got a range. We've actually got a, like, this was a really clean idea. We've got a range deviation, which forms our lower high. That is like, you can't get much cleaner than that. But that is a nice short. yeah. The only thing I don't like about it is it's quite far away from this high, because usually your invalidation is the former high, which is in Africa. On which time frame was short? Any, really. Do you know what I mean? But that's the trade, because what you're trying to capture is the end of euphoria. And then all these people who have bought up here start fucking panicking, and it goes down as quickly as it came up. I did it on whiff. Shorted whiff at like whatever it was, something ridiculous. And it played out. It would have taken a fucking long time for it to play out, in all fairness. But we'll just go back to that glorious. It was here. I shorted literally there. I posted it on the timeline and everyone called me a cunt. I did it to 40 cents. It was basically that. I mean, you'd have been a dumbass, right, to hold it to that. And I closed it in here somewhere. So it was still a really nice trade, but obviously could have got more out of it. And I should have kept $1 of it just to like, you know, or $10 of it for the lols. Just to flex the P&L card, you know, a couple of years later. And watched everyone cry baby about it. But that is exactly what I mean. Very strong run up, lower high, and then bosh. But you've got to be comfy. A, smaller position size, and B, being wrong. Because shorting parabolically strong assets is dangerous, which is why I don't really advocate it. Fartcoin, I mean, Fartcoin has just been dog shit, to be honest with you. Like, you know, I'm kind of sat there going, like, a lot of coins I think have had their day in the sun. And for me to get excited about Fartcoin, like, it just has to break out of, like, these low time frame ranges, right? It has to, like, give me a convincing breakout. Like, you've got a really nice range here. Really, really nice range. So it's a lot cleaner for me to trade than a lot of other coins. So I do like it from that perspective. Like, this is a nice clean range low. You've got this consolidation and deviation down here. You know, you've basically got a mid-range that's very, very clean and respected throughout this price action, yeah? So, you know, kudos to the evil market makers for making it nice and clean. Let's just tidy that up, do my OCD in. Yeah, you know, it's pretty fucking clean in terms of how it trades, right? But do I really want to piss around at mid-range on an asset that isn't, like, super strong? Like, why would I long that? Like a long launch coin or Useless or Pump Fun or something like that, or Asta. So, you know, let's go to Asta, actually. But yeah, I just asset selection is, you know, to me, what will make it feel like you're playing on easy mode instead of hard mode. Good morning, Zero IQ Redact. One of my favorite names. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't look terrible, but it just doesn't look good, and it doesn't look great in terms of like relative strength, right? Like, where is it on here? I always want to be trying to long something that's up here. Even SPX is looking good. And look, my shitcoin, you know, I've absolutely failed at managing that position today. I could have got out break even a couple of times. I traded like piss, but then I did get up at like 4 o'clock this morning or something stupid, so it's probably part of it. And it's only a small position, so it's not too bad. That's probably another thing to point out, is that, like, in general, when I'm trading like proper liquid dog shit like this, I will use smaller position sizing, because the propensity for it to do something like that, or like that, I think's a lot higher than most other coins, because it's illiquid as fuck. I'm pretty sure that the whole funding scenario is probably because the team have like cornered supply and then they just inject money into the market and then distribute it like this and like this. But I don't know that to be true, so pure speculation. But it's definitely true, obviously, if I lose a trade on it, so evil market makers. Am I bullish for the rest of the year? That's a good question. Really, really good question. But it's not something that I can say, yeah, Q4 is definitely going to be bullish. I'm not that guy, man. Like, everything's looking good in terms of what we've talked about, right? Like, what we've talked about, like, isn't good. Bitcoin is looking pretty sendy. As we talked about at the start of the stream, we've respected that 110 level. We're pumping quite nicely off it. It's a good, strong result. Stonks up and to the right. So why can't Bitcoin, ETH consolidating around former all-time highs? It's not a bad thing. You know, don't just expect it to blast through. One of my favorite setups, if you followed me for a long time, is, you know, coin makes high, we come back, we retest that high, we then chop around for a bit, everyone gets fucking bored, and then it ends. Right? It's kind of, that's my bias of what we're doing now, yeah? But that can change in an instant. So when people are like, yeah, it's going to be a bullish Q4, I'm like, you're not a fucking forecaster, mate. You're not, you know, you're not the weatherman. Like, and those cunts get it wrong all the time as well. So, yeah, I don't want to be a weatherman. But exactly what we talked about. If then. If this rejects here and then goes down to here, I'm going to be fucking bearish for the rest of the quarter. Simple as that. You know, if it then reclaims here on October the 16th, I'll probably be bullish. I'm a trader. I change my fucking opinion. I'm like a woman, right? Change my mind every 2 minutes. But I'd like to think that I change it based on new information that's presented to me in the market. So I'm not going to do fog, mate. Fog's just going 0. Wormhole's my preferred long. Yeah, it looks good. So W is, yeah, like, again, nice consolidation, very clean level in terms of rejections, breakouts, support. You know, it's that classic consolidate, flip this to support, continue. Why do I keep waking up so early? I wish I knew, mate. I just do. Just wake up in the middle of the night. Is that spaghetti thing public? Yeah, mate, let me just bosh it in. Oh, look, Launchcoin, absolutely fucking ripping. Let's go. Roosh. See ya, boys. Thoughts on Anson being a spaz for his bearish calls? I don't think he is being a spaz for his bearish calls. I think, like, you got like look at things from his perspective, right? Like, he has made probably, I'd say he's probably made 9 figures out of this market, right? So think about it from the perspective of somebody who's just printed money out of, like, literal thin air, who has probably gone from maybe half a mil, maybe 2 million last cycle or something like that, right? I reckon he's easily like mid 8 figures. So your perception of where you are in the cycle and all that is just like you're balancing things off your own personal euphoria, yeah? So you're going like, my net worth is like this, and you're going, well, everything's stalling out a bit. It's probably fucking over. And it is different than 2021, right? We haven't got a load of people who bought pictures of apes that are now driving Lambos, right? Like, it's far less exciting than that. We've gone over to like ETFs and we're like, oh, we're getting a 50% yield here. Oh, excellent. Which is obviously really nice. But, you know, the point being that it's not quite like everyone's getting a Lambo. But yeah, I think he articulates himself really well in general, and I think he, you know, he was super bullish in 2020, at the end of 2023, like, at the lows, rode the whole Solana trade up, was super bullish on Sol at like $8 or $10 or something, so, you know, I'm not gonna I'm not going to judge him for being... like, let's look at a kind of fresh chart. You know? He was bullish all the way down here. If he gets bearish up here, I don't think you can call him a cunt for that. I'll buy some vowels and nouns. What? But yeah, I think he's done well. I think if he gets bearish up here, who cares? He's either right and we do this, or he's wrong and we do this. How's that going to affect you making money? Shouldn't. Please look into Asta. So I tweeted about Asta earlier today, and I honestly thought it was going to like bounce and do this, but it just didn't bounce at all. There was literally like zero relief. This is what I think of Asta at the moment, is when you get the whole of CT Grave dancing, and I'm going to invert the scale, when you get what we talked about earlier essentially, which is a very parabolic move, this is the equivalent of shorting that like lower high, almost. The real long would obviously have been like this, or here, if you were that super aggressive, which I'm not. We had this consolidation, and the reason I didn't try and trade any of this is because the reaction on spaghetti, as we talked about earlier, was shite. And because it was shite, I was kind of put off. So the market had to prove to me that this was probably going to reverse, yeah? So the consolidation and then the breakout, that's good. I can take that. But let's turn that around. But yeah, I'm not swinging this for anything more than a rotation at this point in time, right? I might end up swinging it for more than a rotation. If it like just kind of runs out of this consolidation and reclaims this like 170 pivot, because it's quite key in terms of price action. But we've also got to remember that this chart is only, what, a week and a bit old? It's not exactly like an established, major trending coin, right? It's like 95% supply controlled by like 4 entities, and they could quite easily just never sell a token and let it rip. There's probably still going to be lots of people trying to farm engagement on it for their teams and the airdrop and all that kind of bollocks, and they probably want it to be as high as possible a price when that airdrop happens, etc, etc. But I'm just taking it like one trade at a time, right? I don't need this to do a generational run, nor do I want to put myself in the position where I'm over-egging into something where a team has got like 90% plus supply control, which just is scary. So yeah, where I'd be tempted to go like super spot long is like up here. Reclaim this big pivot, depending on the price structure going into it, well, that's a short. Jesus Christ. I was inverted myself. Yeah, something like this. Seriously, where's Magus? What am I supposed to do on Tuesday late afternoons now? Don't know, but don't you feel like happier, more with it, more like positive about life? I don't know, was he meant to stream or something and he didn't, or...
Oh, there you are, Perry.
Yeah, I mean, like, literally reclaim this level. It's probably going to go back and just run it turbo. I'm sure they got some tricks up their sleeves, but for now, I'm just in a little rotational play. Life's what you make it. I haven't made mine this far. Oh, brother. I'm sure you will. Yeah, what's running in the market at the moment? Launch coin, pump fund, useless. Like, oh, SPX is running as well. My bag of dicks is killing itself. Lovely to see. Perfect. We've got Yeah, pump fun, useless. Launchcoin absolutely fucking sending. Love to see that. Uh, yeah, there's not really much else. Like XPL's the other big one that I was talking about in the group and saying like, why are people in such a rush to long something that's like brand new, gone literally up only, for a couple of weeks, maybe a couple of days, and then it's just completely changed structure. Like one diagonal line just stops people from fucking splooging all their money. It's just retarded. Like the only trade I would have taken is probably that breakout, right? Purely because you got nice consolidation, you probably had a bit of relative strength, and then you would have got cucked. Yeah, not a problem. I lose trades all the time. It's just one rotation, yeah. And like all I'm now looking for is a break of that trend and something like this. Like, haven't taken this trade yet at all. If you want to take something like this, you really want to see some relative strength, because clearly the market has found sexier things, which obviously I'm in, obviously. So yeah, why rush? It's what a lot of people do. They get like fucking FOMO for all these things, not realizing that there's literally a million other trades. I've traded the fuck out of Kaito as well. Traded, where was it? Was it Monday? I think it was Sunday, wasn't it? It was like here. I think I traded that last night before. I don't know. My life's just blurring into one. I think I had a long here, closed it here, reopened it here, and closed some up here as well. Yeah, that was it, because I was talking to Ratika last night. I said it'd be nice if I woke up and it was 40% up, and it wasn't. I closed it before I went to bed, but it's fucking nice rotations, like some of this stuff, man, like 32%. That's fucking wild, mate. Fucking wild. Like, look at this. Mental. Give me a bit of strength, like show me some strength and we'll run it back again. Where can I find spaghetti? Probably an Italian restaurant, mate. That was fucking terrible, wasn't it? There you go, brother. It's in chat. I'll fucking see myself out for that one, boys, don't worry. STRK, the coin Magus made fun of last week, is literally sending right now, as we discussed last week. Excellent. If you've got like a PNL that I can just flash to him, then feel free. Man, I'm such a pussy hole. That is absolute banger. I think my new alert system would have picked this up. It doesn't look like it's going to fucking stop either, does it? Nice. Nice. That's on there, too late for me to do anything useful with, but we can look at it. We can bask in your glory, Lucifer. Bask in the glory of your call. Can you tell the Burt team not to post about price on the timeline? Oh no. Are they posting about price? Oh, that is a surefire way of sending your coin to fucking zero, isn't it? Dev's talking about price. Fucking close up, boys. So what we got? What's going on? Ah, MYX. Come on, you fucking piece of trash. Yeah, that was beautiful. Lucifer, you hope you made peas on that. I've got this habit of like looking at charts like this and being like, oh yeah, I'll long it when it breaks out, and then just completely forgetting about it, and then seeing it up a bajillion percent on on the old watch list, which is why I'm creating the scanner and the alerts. So there's a 2-letter word from Birmingham talking non-stop about it. What? Two-letter word from Birmingham? What? I'm confused, mate. It's been a long day. It's been a very long day. So yeah, I think we covered Bitcoin, we covered ETH, we covered Sol. We've covered. I haven't really covered anyone. I think if ETH Meter comes back, then this is going to be one of my bags for running a turbo. But like buying in this range, I'm not going to tell anyone to do something I wouldn't do, which is buy a consolidation, you buy a breakout, and you hope that it runs, and you have a stop somewhere in that breakout. Oh, sorry, somewhere in that range. And consolidation, you don't buy there basically. Apex, I wanted a bag of Apex, but like look what they did to my boy. It's like literally dead. It's very similar thought process for me to like Asta and basically any of that like meta. If the meta's dead, then we're not going to reclaim this. We're going to have nothing up here. It's just gonna die, yeah. And this support across here, it's going to mean fuck all. So we're never going to get there. If I see some strength in this meta on Spaghetti, like we see XPL running again, we see Asta on Spaghetti again, like doing well, then maybe I'll change my mind. But it's not somewhere that I super want to actively position in just yet. Same with STPL, which I can see you're asking in the chat. Like for me, it's here, which I was too slow for, or here, which is the reclaim of this massive like range here. I do think STPL meta isn't done, so my bias is bullish, but I'm not just gonna like pre-position into it because I'm a pussy. But it is a nice reaction down here. Offers meant for you. Any rough ETA on the scanner being available in the group? No, I'm actually talking to XO about it as to how we kind of do it and how he's got various thought processes and systems that he wants to build out. So I think he's going to do a little bit more of the designing of said systems, and I'm going to be building them. So I don't know. And like equally, like my priority cannot be doing that at this moment in time when perps are so fucking hot. Yeah, if I can make 10% in a day, I'm gonna make any excuse to be in this office trading perps, basically. Like look at this rotation from the lows, like absolutely insane. 17, 13, 11, 11. Even like Asta, like 7% up, pretty nice. This piece of shit is going to fucking zero, I guess. So I gotta capitulate that, and then it'll fucking send. But yeah, like if we're trading like this violently, then I kind of have to be locked in, right? I just have to be. So I can't really spend too much time. Like I was building some stuff on the weekend like this, but like the kind of initial thought process for a breakout scanner. But then we've obviously got to build it and then convert it and then integrate it. Well, I don't honestly know how long that'll take. Could take a day, could take an hour, could take a week. But I'm going to move it over to equities as well. And me and XO are going to run up some equity accounts. Let's use Transpider. Transpider? I used Transpider like 10 years ago, man. But yeah, maybe. Using Claude to create the script? No. Doing it old school, mate. Check them out against their on file, eh? Yeah, I will, mate, actually. They, yeah, if they can do that kind of stuff for us and just like automate the shit out of it, then yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, I think that's probably it from me, lads. I don't think there's too much more to say. I think, you know, I will maintain like a bullish bias on most things. And if I like delete all this fucking noise, like, yeah, all I'm doing on a lot of alts is just going, where would I be bullish? Why would I be bullish? You know, this looks like dog shit now, right? It's fucking died from the range. It's looks fucking like this was distribution. Looks like it's the start of like this kind of cascade. But if it comes back and reclaims, then that's probably like not a free trade. There's no such thing as a free trade. Do whatever it wants, consolidate here, go like that in a single fucking candle, etc., etc. But like, you know, mark up what you want to see happen and just wait for things to come to you. I think there's a plenty to do with on Ethan Soul. I think Kaito's not really had the long I wanted it to. Asta, I'll just play that as a rotation. What else? Apex, it's too early. Too early to get excited about Apex. I genuinely think that meta's probably not dead, just a bit worn out. Woo, I'm just gonna get out of this. And XPL, wait for a break in trend. And Launchcoin, have a beer with the homies, because that's going very well. I think that's about it. You set a time frame scanner for stocks and crypto based on criteria including financial data and patterns such as breakouts. Ooh, nice. I will have a look. Thank you very much, Lucifer and Cestus. And I will employ you all to sign up to this. Have a go on telemetry. Links in the description below. And hopefully by this time next week, me and Doc will be starting our on-chain 1v1. So obviously, I'm gonna be shilling 5k market caps to 100,000 people. Well, more like 500 people and 120,000 bots, but whatever. As for this for 5 months. Sorry, brother. But yeah, thank you all for being here. I will be here the same time next week. And until then, have a wonderful evening and see you soon. Toodle bip.